Chapter 1, The Watchful Alpha. The storm tore through the night with ferocious speed, lashing the mansion with rain that hammered against the roof like 1,000 furious fists. And just like that, Cale's world narrowed to the corridors of his fortress. His boots echoed on marble floors as he patrolled, every step precise, every muscle taut. The mansion, vast and cold, smelled of polished wood and faint traces of old smoke, memories he wished he could erase. From the shadows he observed the monitors, scanning every camera feed. Every perimeter breach sent a ripple of tension through him. Because of that, Cale's senses were sharpened, every whisper, every creak in the wood, every flicker of light felt like a warning. Then he paused. Her name had arrived on his encrypted screen. Lara Hayes. Independent. Resilient. Clever. And yet, every report suggested she was trouble, too defiant to control. Yet, deep down he knew the truth. Curiosity was already clawing at him, against every rule he had built around his heart. Without warning, his wolf stirred. The hairs on his arms lifted as a low growl vibrated from his chest. Something about her presence, even miles away, tugged at instincts he had suppressed for years. His golden eyes narrowed, scanning the night. She was coming into his world whether he wanted her to, or not. Moments later, a soft beep on the monitor indicated movement. Someone was approaching. Cale's hand flexed over the dagger at his belt and he whispered into the silence, "Not on my watch." His mind raced with 1,000 scenarios. Kidnapping. Skip. Wasp. She would not be easy and neither would he. And just like that, everything changed. The night held its breath. Cale knew his isolation, his meticulous control, was about to fracture. For the first time since Camila he felt a spark, dangerous, enticing and frightening all at once. The mansion, his sanctuary, had become a cage, and the key was Lara Hayes. Chapter 2, The Intrigue of Lara. Next, Cale studied her profile again, tracing the lines of her reports, the security dossiers and the intercepted messages. Even so, the more he read, the more intrigued he became. Her independent streak wasn't arrogance, it was instinct. Her intelligence wasn't defiance, it was survival. Meanwhile, he recalled his own past, how Camila had laughed in the face of danger, how her touch had pulled him from the darkness. And just like that, memories surged, a wave of longing he had buried under discipline and control. Cale clenched his fists, fighting the pull. At the same time he considered his mission. The council had orders: bring her in, secure her, ensure her compliance. Yet every fiber of his body screamed that this would not be simple. He needed to prepare, for resistance, for deceit, for chaos. Maybe it's fate, he murmured to himself, his voice low, almost a growl. Or maybe it's a trap. And truth be told, he couldn't tell the difference yet. Still, he marked the moments of her vulnerability. The stories of her life hinted at loss, at betrayal, at resilience. And that was the lure, the challenge. He didn't just want her compliance. He wanted to understand her. To control her, yes, but also to see who she was beneath the defiance. That night, he made a decision. Tomorrow she would come into his world. And with that, the open loop began. What would she see when she arrived? And what would he discover about himself? Chapter 3, The Abduction. Soon after dawn, Cale moved. The boat cut through the misted river, silent as a shadow. Lara's cottage appeared ahead, modest, surrounded by wildflowers and the scent of morning dew. Her life seemed so ordinary, so fragile. That's why he hated the part of him that wanted her. Her eyes widened the moment he appeared, hands raised in instinctual defiance. "Who, what?" she stammered. "Quiet. Move," Cale said, his voice low, dangerous and smooth all at once. The words were a command, but beneath them, a pulse of curiosity hummed. She didn't cower. She didn't beg. And that only made his wolf stir harder. Her body moved on instinct, trying to escape, and his reflexes were faster. In the span of a breath, he intercepted her. The closeness, the scent of her, pine, rain and something sweet, sent a jolt through him. Yet he remained controlled, dominant. Her pulse raced against his chest as he whispered, "Not a sound. Not a struggle. It won't end well if you fight." What followed was a tense, silent battle of wills. Her defiance burned, her eyes challenging him, daring him to underestimate her. And just like that, his control slipped a fraction. Because she wasn't just a target. She was a force. A storm he hadn't expected. By the time she was secured, the open loop widened. She would not surrender easily. And he was already thinking of ways she might slip through his fingers. Chapter Point 4. The Mansion Confrontation. From there, Cale returned to his mansion, Lara now secured in the guest quarters. The space smelled of old cedar and candle wax. And still, every corner whispered secrets of a past he wasn't ready to confront. She glared at him, arms crossed, lips pressed tight. "You can't just." "I can," he interrupted, voice sharp, dominant. "Because I said so. Because it's necessary. Because you're in my world now." His gaze burned into hers, golden and unyielding. Yet beneath it, a flicker of something unspoken lingered, curiosity, respect, even intrigue. Soon after, he left her to settle. The quiet mansion seemed to expand, echoing with tension. He wandered the halls, thinking of her defiance, of the scent that lingered, of the challenge she posed. That night, sleep eluded him. Not only was she a disruption, but she also unearthed memories and instincts he had buried deep. Her voice lingered in his thoughts. "You can't control me." He had to wonder, could he even want to? And just like that, the stage was set. Two forces collided. Dominance versus defiance. Control versus curiosity. Protector versus survivor. The spark had ignited. Meanwhile, Lara pressed herself against the wall, heart pounding, breath ragged. She didn't know what scared her more, the fact she had been captured or the raw magnetic force of the man who did it. His scent lingered like wildfire in the room, sharp, protective, and infuriatingly familiar. That night, she replayed every detail. His eyes, his hands, the growl in his voice. And even so, fear battled curiosity. Was he dangerous? Or was he a savior she didn't yet understand? Before she could move, the door creaked. Cale's shadow fell across the floor. "Sleep," he said softly, almost tenderly. "You'll need strength tomorrow." Her pulse raced. A beat later, she realized she didn't fully hate him. Not yet. And that revelation terrified her as much as his dominance. Because of that, she lay awake, listening to the storm outside, feeling the pulse of something deeper. Danger, desire, and the unknown connection forming between them. Her world had tilted. Chapter 5. The Cage in the Chase. Next morning, the mansion was quiet, almost painfully so. Lara pressed her forehead against the cold window, watching the rain streak like silver veins across the glass. She didn't know what scared her more, the storm outside or the storm inside her own chest. Her heart still thumped from last night's confrontation with Cale. Then she turned as the door opened. Cale stepped in, boots silent on the floor, eyes sharp as a hawk's. "Breakfast," he said curtly. And yet, the warmth in his voice was faint but unmistakable. Without warning, she snapped. "I don't eat your food." Her voice shook. You can't keep me here." Cale's jaw tightened. "I can. And I will. Because it's for your own safety." He stepped closer, the scent of him, pine, leather, something wild, curling around her senses. Her body moved on instinct, inching back. And yet, something about the way he watched her, it unnerved her, stirred something she didn't want to admit. Moments later, he sighed, running a hand through his dark hair. "You think this is a game? It's not. Not only that, you're stronger than I expected, but that doesn't mean I'm unprepared." Before she could respond, a soft growl, low, dangerous, rumbled from his chest. Her pulse raced. Something inside her shifted. Cale's wolf was awake, restless, and that energy, it made her tremble. By the time breakfast was over, a storm had begun between them, words sharp, glances sharper. And in the span of a breath they tested boundaries, trust, and restraint. The air between them burned, dangerous, magnetic, impossible to ignore. That night she couldn't sleep. Her thoughts spun around him, his dominance, the growl that haunted her dreams, and the faintest trace of something else. Curiosity, perhaps even desire. She didn't know what scared her more, his control or her reaction to it. Chapter 6, Secrets in the Shadows. Soon after dawn, Cale ventured into the hidden library of the mansion. Ancient tomes, arcane symbols and shifter histories lined the shelves. Even so, his mind lingered on Lara. Something about her presence tugged at memories he had tried to forget. And just like that, he discovered a thread. Her family, her lineage, whispers of power he hadn't expected. What's worse, she might be more than she seemed. Maybe it was fate. Meanwhile, Lara explored her own confines. The guest quarters were lavish but restrictive. Every window barred, every exit locked. And yet, she found hidden clues, small details Cale overlooked. A mark carved into the wall, a scent lingering from his presence, the faint vibration of energy she couldn't yet name. Her instincts surged. Before she could move too far, Cale entered, catching her mid-step. "Curiosity will get you hurt," he warned. And yet, there was an undercurrent, almost teasing, in his tone. His eyes softened ever so slightly, betraying a flicker of something unspoken. Because of that, she felt an uneasy mix of fear and fascination. Her body reacted before her mind could catch up. And the tension between them thickened, palpable as the storm clouds outside. The moment their eyes locked, a silent acknowledgement passed between them. Neither would yield easily. Each held secrets, power, and desire that neither fully understood. And just like that, the game began. Chapter 7, The First Transformation. Meanwhile, the full moon approached. Cale's wolf pressed forward with anticipation, instincts roaring beneath his skin. Lara's senses flared, she felt it before she saw it. The air thickened. Time stood still. Her body trembled as Cale shifted. Fur erupted across his skin, muscles bulging, golden eyes burning like molten gold. And she realized he was more dangerous, more magnificent than she could have imagined. At the same time, she felt a stir within herself. Something inside her shifted. Her wolf responded to his presence, to his scent, to the raw intensity between them. Fear and desire collided, making her chest ache, making her pulse race. Before either could speak, the first contact happened. Cale's massive form loomed over her, growl low and vibrating. Her instincts surged, and without thinking, she reached out. Their connection, a spark, a pulse, something ancient, ignited. By the time the transformation ended, the mansion had changed. Shadows danced, the wind carried secrets, and the bond between them deepened, undeniable and primal. And that open loop widened. What did this connection mean? And how much could they trust each other? From there, tension escalated. Cale taught her to control the stirrings, to manage her senses. Yet, every lesson, every touch, every glance, carried the weight of danger and desire. Her body reacted before her mind could rationalize it. That night they sparred, hands, claws, minds intertwined. Pain, pleasure, and adrenaline mingled as the lines blurred. Her chest ached, his dominance pressed close, and yet in the quiet moments he whispered, "You're stronger than I feared, stronger than I deserve." And just like that, a bond formed, fragile, potent, dangerous. Questions lingered. Secrets waited to surface. And the story spun forward, escalating with every heartbeat. Eventually, a message arrived from the council. Cale's jaw tightened. Threats, betrayal, the hint of a rival alpha, danger was coming. And truth be told, he didn't just worry for himself. He worried for her. Meanwhile, Lara sensed it. The forest whispered of movement, of unseen eyes, of predatory intent. Her wolf pressed forward. She didn't know what frightened her more, the warning or her pulse when Cale's hand brushed hers in reassurance. Before they could act, the night grew still. Shadows thickened. And just like that, the open loop exploded. Danger was close, and the survival of both would test their trust, their bond, and their hearts. Chapter 8, Shared Danger. Soon after dawn, the forest surrounding the mansion seemed almost alive, rustling with secrets. Lara's pulse raced as she followed Cale through the dense underbrush. He moved like a shadow, silent but powerful, his senses attuned to every shift in the wind. At the same time, her own instincts stirred. Something inside her had shifted. Her wolf pressed forward, alert and tense. She didn't know what scared her more, the forest or the raw energy radiating from Cale. Before either could speak, a rustle, a predator, a flicker of movement caught her eye. Cale's hand shot out, gripping her wrist. "Stay close," he growled, and she felt the vibration of his wolf under the words. Her breath caught. Without thinking, she moved as he did, mirroring his steps, trusting him instinctively. Every heartbeat synchronized, every glance charged with tension. Her chest ached as adrenaline and something else, desire, fascination, coiled in her belly. Meanwhile, the forest held its breath. Shadows shifted, and a pair of golden eyes gleamed from the undergrowth. Wolf? Or worse. Cale's body tensed, and she realized he hadn't warned her of all the dangers. The stakes were higher than she imagined. That night, when they returned, dripping and exhausted, Cale didn't release her hand immediately. The moment their eyes locked, the air thickened, charged with a silent question neither would voice yet. And just like that, the tension between them deepened, undeniable and dangerous. Chapter 9, Secrets Between Them. Next, in the safety of the mansion, Cale studied her quietly. "You're not like other humans," he murmured, voice low. "You sense things, more than you should." Lara's breath trembled. I feel things." Her voice was almost a whisper. "Things I can't explain." More importantly, he saw it, not just the strength but the bond forming between them. Her wolf stirred beneath her calm exterior, and he knew it. Something ancient called to him in her presence. Before she could ask what he meant, he shifted slightly, claws retracting, eyes golden in the dim light. His voice dropped to a rumble. "You should be careful, because curiosity can get you killed." Her pulse raced. She leaned closer, compelled by something she couldn't name. "Maybe I like danger," she whispered. Because of that, Cale's jaw tightened, a shiver running down his spine. He wanted to keep her safe, and yet, the closeness, the way she dared meet his gaze, ignited something primal inside him. Her presence was intoxicating, maddening, and forbidden all at once. The moment their fingers brushed, the bond pulsed. Electricity surged. And truth be told, neither could ignore it. The question remained, how much could they trust each other before the danger tore them apart? Chapter 10 Arrival appears. Meanwhile, shadows crept closer to the mansion. Cale sensed it before she did. Movement, subtle but calculated. Arrival Alpha? Intruders? The warning clawed at him. Soon after, a note arrived, left in plain sight yet impossible to trace. "Your secrets won't protect you. She is valuable. She will be ours." Her wolf growled in tandem with his. Fear surged. Desire mingled with panic, and Cale's hand found hers, gripping tight. "I won't let them take you," he said fiercely. Even so, Lara's curiosity burned. "Why me? What is it about me?" she asked, voice trembling. Cale's eyes darkened. "Some things you don't ask until you're ready, or until it's too late." By the time they realized the gravity of the threat, the mansion felt smaller, tighter. Every hallway, every shadow seemed alive. And just like that, their trust, their bond, and their survival were tested, pushing the romance, the tension, and the supernatural stakes to their limit. Chapter 11, First Night of Desire. That night, Cale could not sleep. Her scent lingered, wild, intoxicating, impossible to ignore. He found her awake, sitting by the window, staring at the moon. "Cale," she whispered, turning. "Why? Why do I feel like I belong here?" Without another word, he stepped closer, closing the distance. The air thickened. Her breath caught. His hand brushed her cheek, soft yet demanding. "Because you do," he said, voice low, almost a growl. Her body reacted before her mind could protest. Fire bloomed beneath her skin. Her wolf pressed forward, responding to him, mirroring the intensity. Time seemed to slow. Every heartbeat, every breath, every brush of skin sent waves of tension and desire pulsing between them. Before either could speak, their lips met. Not gentle, not careful, but hungry, desperate, electric. And in that moment, boundaries shattered. Fear and longing collided, and they were consumed by something far larger than themselves. Moments later, as they pulled apart, both breathing heavily, the danger outside the mansion seemed to fade, temporarily, but the bond between them had solidified, unbreakable, raw, and undeniable. Meanwhile, the rival alpha watched from afar. Every move Kale made, every step Lara took was tracked. Secrets threatened to explode. And truth be told, the storm inside the mansion was only a mirror of the storm outside. By the time the moon sank, questions remained unanswered. How powerful is Lara really? Can Kale protect her without destroying himself? And will their passion survive when the enemy strikes? Chapter 12, Emotional Tensions. Next, the mansion's walls seemed smaller, the shadows heavier. Lara moved through the hallway carrying a tray of tea, sensing Kale behind her. Her heart skipped, both from attraction and unease. She didn't know what scared her more, the storm outside or the storm brewing inside her. Kale's eyes followed her every move, golden and intense, like a predator assessing prey, or perhaps something more. "You're restless," he said softly, but the edge in his voice betrayed his concern. Before she could answer, a vase rattled on the table. The wind had shifted, or had it? His wolf surged beneath his skin, senses alert. He stepped closer, hand brushing hers as if by accident. Her pulse raced. More importantly, she saw it, vulnerability. A crack in his armor. Kale wasn't untouchable. Not really. The thought sent a thrill through her, mingling with fear. Meanwhile, her own wolf pressed forward, restless, sensing danger but also responding to his presence. The tension between them thickened. She tried to speak, but words faltered. His lips curved faintly, warning or invitation. She couldn't tell. By the time the storm outside intensified, the mansion felt like a cage, both suffocating and intimate. And just like that, a silent question hung between them. How much could they reveal to each other without losing control? Chapter 13, The Midpoint Revelation. Soon after, a hidden envelope appeared on her pillow. No trace of a sender. She hesitated, then opened it. Inside, a photograph of her taken without her knowledge and a cryptic message: "She is more important than she knows. They will come for her, soon." Her heart thundered. "Kale?" she whispered, showing him. Without warning, Kale's expression darkened. Rage flared, primal and raw. His jaw clenched. "I should have seen this coming," his wolf growled low in his throat. "They know about you. About what you are." Even so, she needed answers. "What do you mean? Who is they?" Kale's eyes softened just enough to make her breath hitch. "Some secrets were meant to stay buried. But now, you're part of a game far bigger than either of us imagined." Because of that, tension crackled in the air. Every sound, the rain pounding against windows, distant thunder, the crackle of fire, seemed amplified. Danger pressed close, and yet desire pressed closer. Before either could speak again, the house shuddered. Something or someone had arrived outside. Kale moved like lightning, protective and commanding. "Stay here. Don't move," he ordered, but the tremor in his voice betrayed fear for her. Chapter 14, Forced Cooperation. Meanwhile, the threat became immediate. Footsteps, too deliberate to be the storm, echoed on the mansion stairs. Lara's wolf surged. Her instincts screamed to fight or run. Kale turned, eyes ablaze. "You need to trust me, fully. No hesitation." Her body moved on instinct, following him as they silently navigated the darkened halls. Each step, each heartbeat synchronized. Her chest ached, not from exertion but from the closeness, the shared danger, the raw energy between them. Moments later, they cornered the intruder, a rival shifter, sleek, fast, with a dangerous smirk. The tension broke in an instant. Steel collided with claws. Growls tore the air. Lara ducked, barely avoiding a swipe. Yet in the chaos, she realized something startling. She could fight too. Reflexes, instincts, and a newfound courage surged within her. She dodged, struck, and survived. Kale's eyes softened slightly. "You're stronger than I thought," he admitted, though his voice carried pride, not just warning. That night, as they stood together, rain soaking their hair and clothes, adrenaline mingled with desire. Kale's hand lingered on her cheek. "You've changed," he murmured, voice husky. Her breath caught. "So have you." And just like that, the midpoint revelation had reshaped everything. Lara was no longer a passive figure. Danger, desire, and secrets intertwined, raising stakes both external and internal. The mansion was no longer merely a sanctuary, it was a battleground for hearts, wills, and survival. Okay. Soon after, in the flickering candlelight, Cale guided her to the library. The storm outside hammered the windows and the fire crackled. Their breaths mingled. "Why am I here?" she asked softly, voice trembling. Cale's gaze locked onto hers. "Because you matter. And I will protect you, no matter what." Her pulse raced. The moment their fingers brushed, the bond pulsed again. Her wolf pressed forward, responding to him. Desire, danger, and trust collided. Without another word, he pulled her close. Lips met in a fiery, desperate kiss. Fire bloomed beneath her skin. Her senses sharpened, the scent of rain, the taste of him, the thrill of the unknown. Before either could step back, a howl echoed outside, a warning of more danger yet to come. Chapter 15, Sharing Secrets. Next, the rain outside softened, but inside the mansion, tension still crackled like static electricity. Cale and Lara sat by the fire, drenched and exhausted, yet neither moved to leave. Cale's jaw tightened, his golden eyes reflecting the flames. "There's something I've never told anyone," he began, voice low, almost a growl. His wolf stirred beneath his skin, alert, protective. Her breath caught. "You can tell me," she whispered. Even so, his hesitation stretched. Memories of loss, betrayal, and Camilla's death pressed against him. Yet something about her presence, the way her eyes searched his without fear, dared him to trust. "Camilla, my mate, she's gone," he admitted, voice breaking slightly. "I failed her. And now I can't risk failing you." Her hand trembled as it touched his. "Cale, I'm not Camilla. I'm me. And you're not alone anymore." Because of that, a bridge of trust began to form. Her words reached the guarded corners of his heart. He exhaled slowly, releasing tension he didn't even realize he'd been holding. By the time the fire dwindled to embers, Cale leaned close, brushing a damp strand of hair from her face. "I should push you away. I should." "You don't have to," she interrupted, voice steady. "We survive better together than apart." The tension between them broke just enough to ignite something new. Desire, protection, and a shared understanding surged forward, leaving neither able to deny it. Chapter 16, Partnering Under Pressure. Soon after, alarms blared. A rival shifter faction had infiltrated the outskirts of the mansion's grounds. Cale grabbed her hand instinctively. "Stay close. Follow my lead." Her pulse raced. "I'm not hiding," she replied, eyes sharp, instincts alert. At the same time, shadows moved across the periphery. Growls and snarls cut through the night air. Lara ducked as a figure lunged, landing just inches from her. Her wolf pressed forward. Her senses sharpened. Without thinking, she struck back, forcing the attacker away. Cale's eyes widened, not in surprise at her skill, but at the synchronicity of their movements. "You're faster than I thought," he murmured, almost a purr beneath the tension. The fight intensified. Claws, fists, and shouts collided. Every step, every breath brought them closer. More importantly, it forced them to move in perfect harmony. Each instinct, each protective gesture, each glance carried weight. Moments later, they cornered a rival. Cale's growl filled the air. "Back off," he shouted, teeth bared, wolf scent flaring. Lara followed suit, and together their combined strength forced the intruder to retreat. The adrenaline surged, and yet, in the quiet that followed, Cale pressed her against him. "We're stronger together, always," he whispered, voice husky, lips brushing her temple. Chapter 17, Sacrifice and Commitment. That night, the rain returned, hammering the roof, mirroring the storm in Cale's mind. Outside, distant howls warned of more danger. Inside, he stared into her eyes, golden glow reflecting in hers. "You might be safer without me," he murmured, voice breaking. "I can't guarantee anything, not with what's coming." Her chest ached. "Cale, we face it together," she insisted. "I trust you. I trust us." But then the mansion shook. A trap set by their enemies, an ambush meant to separate them, activated. Cale shoved her behind a wall just as claws raked the air where she had stood moments ago. His wolf pressed forward, fury and instinct fused into a single unstoppable force. Yet in that moment he realized the truth. Emotional walls would not protect her. Only openness, trust, and commitment could. As the enemy retreated, he gathered her close. "I will not let anyone hurt you. Not now. Not ever." His voice broke, but his grip was steady, unwavering. "You are mine, and I am yours." And just like that, the point of no return crystallized. Their bond was sealed through danger, desire, and unspoken promises. Sacrifice had been made. Trust had been earned. And passion ignited into something untamable. Chapter 18, Ambushed and Injured. Next, the forest surrounding the mansion seemed alive with menace. Shadows shifted unnaturally, and every snapped twig made Lara's heart jump. Without warning, a second wave of the rival faction struck. Kale reacted instantly, body moving with predatory precision. "Lara, stay behind me." She froze only for a heartbeat before her instincts kicked in. Her wolf surged, senses screaming. She darted, dodged, and countered, yet a blade grazed her shoulder. Pain seared sharply, but she refused to cry out. Kale's roar tore through the night. His golden eyes flared as he tackled an attacker, fangs bared. Growl. Strike. Dodge. His wolf's power radiated, filling the clearing with feral dominance. By the time the fight ended, Lara collapsed against a tree, trembling. Her pulse raced, adrenaline fading into exhaustion. Kale knelt beside her, lips brushing her ear. "You should have stayed back," he muttered, voice low, guilt-laden. She shook her head weakly. "I'm not yours to hide," she whispered, wincing. "We survive together, or not at all." Kale's jaw tightened. Truth be told, he had feared this moment. His inability to shield her, his failure as protector. It burned worse than any wound. And just like that, the first crack appeared in his armor. Vulnerability seeped through, raw and terrifying. Chapter 19, Confronting Emotional Fault Lines. Soon after, they retreated into the mansion, wounds treated and adrenaline fading. Kale paced, fists clenched, teeth grinding. I can't lose you," he admitted, voice rough. Lara stood, leaning against the wall, eyes soft but firm. "Kale, you can't control everything. You can't carry the world alone. You need to trust me, and yourself." Even so, he shook his head. "My wolf, my pack, my past, it will destroy you if I let it loose." She stepped closer, hand brushing his chest. "Maybe it's fate we met like this, because we need each other. You're stronger with me, not without me." Kale closed his eyes, exhaling shakily. He had always equated love with risk, closeness with weakness. Yet in her gaze, he glimpsed the truth he had buried long ago. Vulnerability was strength, if shared. Her words, her presence, ignited a fire beneath the guilt and fear. A spark of hope pulsed between them. Chapter 20, The Temptation to Leave. That night, the storm outside mirrored Kale's inner turmoil. He stood by the window, rain streaking down the glass, thoughts spinning. "I should leave," he murmured to himself, jaw tight. "Keep her safe, from me, from all of this." Lara entered quietly, voice trembling. "Kale, don't. Not now. Not like this. You're not alone, and neither am I. Whatever comes, we face it together." Without thinking, he reached for her, yet hesitated. His wolf pressed beneath his skin, instincts screaming to protect, yet fear of losing control froze him. Because of that, he almost turned away, almost chose isolation over love. But then, he felt her warmth, her trust, her courage. His chest tightened, breath caught. His heart thumped wildly. And in that moment he realized, detachment would not protect her. Distance would not save her. Only connection, shared danger, shared strength, shared heart, could. Her hand found his, their fingers entwining. "I won't let you go," she whispered. Kale's eyes flared with gold, wolf instincts mingling with human emotion. "Then we fight, together. No matter the cost." Her wolf surged. His hearts pounding, breaths ragged, they stood shoulder to shoulder, ready to face the darkness looming just beyond the mansion walls. As the wind howled through the trees, it carried with it a promise. Pain would come, danger would strike, but love, raw, untamed, and unyielding, would endure. Chapter 21, The Breakthrough. Next, dawn barely kissed the horizon when Cale's mind snapped into focus. He had studied the rival faction's movements for weeks, patterns, mistakes, weaknesses, every detail stored in the recesses of his tactical mind. Without warning, he realized the key. One overlooked trait, one misstep, a single weakness that could turn the tide. His pulse surged. "Lara," he called, voice sharp yet tinged with excitement. She appeared instantly, senses attuned, eyes wide. "What is it?" He leaned close, lips barely brushing her ear. "The council thinks they've covered every exit, but they haven't. Their guard rotates every 43 seconds. There's a blind spot, by the cliff, south side." Even so, she furrowed her brow. "You're certain?" Cale's jaw tightened, golden eyes burning with determination. "Certain enough to risk everything." Moments later, they moved to the map table, tracing lines, marking weak points, planning. Their fingers brushed repeatedly over the parchment, and each time, sparks ignited beneath their skin, the tension palpable. By the time the sun rose fully, they had a plan. Every move calculated, every risk accounted for. Yet beneath the strategy, emotions churned, fear, excitement, desire, and an unspoken need for one another surged relentlessly. Chapter 22, Preparing Together. Soon after, the mansion became a war room. Weapons polished. Wolves at alert. Ilara's heart thumped as Cale's hands guided hers over a blade, teaching her precision, patience, anticipation. "Like this?" he murmured, voice low, breath warm against her ear. "Focus. Let the weapon flow through you, not just your hand." Her body moved instinctively, wolf instincts and human determination intertwining. Each brush of his skin sent shivers up her spine. Their eyes locked, the space between them burning, every touch a silent declaration. Meanwhile, the rival faction gathered unknowingly, their blind spots glaring, their arrogance blinding. Cale's mind raced ahead, plotting. Yet he couldn't ignore the way her warmth settled him, the way her fire mingled with his own, coaxing him from his usual armor. Even so, doubts lingered. Could they survive this? Could love survive the chaos awaiting them? Cale swallowed hard. "We can," he whispered, more to himself than her. At the same time, Ilara's wolf pulsed within her, sensing danger, instinctively protective. She pressed closer, silent but resolute. Their bond, the unspoken tether, was stronger than ever. That night, under a sliver of moon, they approached the cliffside. Mist curled around jagged rocks, the air thick with tension and the scent of wet earth. Without another word, Cale led, silent, predatory. His golden eyes scanned every shadow, every rustle, every whisper of movement. Lara followed, heart racing, wolf attuned, senses sharp. Just like that, they spotted the enemy, two guards, careless, confident, unaware. Cale gestured, and they moved in perfect synchronization. Her breath caught as they engaged. Lara ducked, rolled, and struck with precision. Cale's presence was a shield, a weapon, and a wildfire all at once. Growl. Strike. Dodge. Every heartbeat, every step, every breath synchronized between them. By the time they reached the cliff's edge, the rival faction's trap lay in shambles. Yet one final obstacle remained, their leader, the mastermind, watching, waiting. Cale's eyes narrowed, wolf instincts surging. As the wind shifted, carrying the scent of danger, the stakes became crystal clear. Failure meant death. Success meant survival, and a chance to finally claim the bond they had forged in fire and blood. Her chest ached, adrenaline and longing mingling. Their eyes locked, and in that single glance, Cale understood, their fight was more than strategy. It was trust, love, and the unbreakable bond that had grown between them. As fire bloomed beneath their skin, they prepared to leap into the final confrontation, knowing nothing would ever be the same. Chapter 23, The Climax. Without warning, the rival leader stepped from the shadows, eyes cold, calculating. Cale's muscles tensed, wolf instincts roaring beneath his skin. He growled low, a warning and a promise. Lara pressed close, senses alive, her heart thundering. "We can do this," she whispered, voice steady despite the tremor beneath. Even so, the enemy struck first, swift, lethal. Cale met him head-on, each movement precise, every strike fueled by years of pain, rage, and now protectiveness. The air thickened with tension, metallic with the scent of fear and blood. Every heartbeat was amplified, each breath ragged. Lara darted forward, agility and instinct combining. Her strikes were clean, strategic, lethal. As the silence stretched, the clash reached a fever pitch. Cale and Lara moved as one, predator and mate, wolf and human, instinct and intellect intertwined. Their bond pulsed, a rhythm of trust and love driving every action. By the time the enemy faltered, Cale had pinned him, teeth bared, growl shaking the night. "You should have left," he hissed. "No one harms my mate." Her breath caught. Her wolf pressed closer. The tension broke as the rival fell, unconscious, defeated, not by strength alone but by unity, trust, and an unbreakable bond forged in fire and fear. Chapter 24. Falling action. Soon after, the adrenaline ebbed, leaving raw exhaustion and relief. Cale held Lara close, golden eyes softening, wolf instincts giving way to tenderness. Her hands traced the line of his jaw. We did it," she murmured, voice trembling. He shook his head, nuzzling her hair. "No, you were every strike, every move, every heartbeat." Even so, neither spoke immediately. The silence was filled with the scent of wet earth, the faint tang of sweat and adrenaline, and the quiet hum of their bond solidifying. By the time they returned to the mansion, dawn painted the sky in soft golds and pinks. Wolves padded silently around them, senses alert, yet sensing the victory, the bond, the completion of a battle that had tested everything. Cale guided Lara inside, every touch intentional, every glance a silent promise. Their eyes met, speaking volumes words could not capture. Moments later, the mansion hummed with life once more. Wolves at rest, the rival faction neutralized, and the mansion secure, Cale and Lara finally allowed themselves to exhale fully. Her hand rested over his chest. "You're home now," she whispered. Truth be told, he had never known home. Not until now. The warmth of her presence, the quiet strength in her gaze, the rhythm of her heartbeat against his, it was everything. That night, they embraced fully, a union of body and soul, wolf and human, passion and love. The air thickened as fire bloomed beneath their skin, as fingers entwined, as lips pressed and whispered promises sealed in the quiet intimacy of victory. At the same time, the mansion became a sanctuary, walls no longer a prison but a home. Their love, hard-won, blood-tested, and fire-tempered, flourished openly. Even as shadows of the past lingered, they no longer bound them. Instead, they had transformed them into strength, into trust, into an unbreakable connection. Months later, before either could speak, laughter filled the halls. Wolves padded alongside human steps, the mansion alive with warmth and life. Cale and Lara moved together seamlessly, morning light spilling across the floor. Her hands rested on her belly, her pulse quickened with anticipation. Cale pressed a kiss to her temple, golden eyes soft, protective, tender. "You are my life," he murmured. Her heart skipped. And just like that, everything changed. The battles were over. The danger had passed. Their love had endured. The mansion, once a symbol of isolation, now radiated partnership, trust, and family. Wolves circled, scenting the new life. Their bond pulsed, deep and unshakable, a rhythm of past struggles, present triumph, and future promise. As the wind carried his name through the halls, they shared a glance, a touch, a silent promise that nothing, no enemy, no fear, could ever sever what they had forged. Their story had reached its climax. Their love, tested, unbroken, fierce, would guide them forward.